In the heart of Los Angeles, where the glitz and glamour of Hollywood meet the serious undercurrents of high society, the dramatic and untimely death of Jonathan Blake sent shockwaves through the city. Jonathan Blake, a 45-year-old billionaire tech entrepreneur, had amassed a fortune with his innovative software company, Tech Vanguard, which was renowned for its cutting-edge developments in artificial intelligence. Born and raised in San Francisco, Jonathan had moved to Los Angeles in his early 30s to expand his business empire. His success was not just confined to the boardroom. He was also known for his philanthropic efforts, having donated millions to various charities and educational institutions. Jonathan's estranged wife, Vanessa Blake, was a 42-year-old former model and socialite who had garnered a reputation for her beauty and high-profile lifestyle. Born in Miami, Vanessa had met Jonathan during his early rise to fame. Their marriage, which began as a fairy tale romance, had gradually turned into a public spectacle filled with legal battles and media attention. Vanessa's life in Los Angeles was characterized by opulent parties and a series of controversial public appearances, which only fueled the public's interest in their tumultuous relationship. The couple's divorce proceedings had become a media circus, largely due to the staggering sums of money involved and the couple's high-profile social circles. Vanessa had been demanding a significant portion of Jonathan's fortune, claiming she deserved a large settlement due to her role in his early success and her sacrifices for the marriage. Jonathan, on the other hand, was determined to protect his assets and ensure a fair division of their shared wealth, leading to increasingly bitter disputes. On the evening of January 15, 2023, Jonathan was found dead in his upscale apartment in downtown Los Angeles. The apartment, located on the top floor of a luxurious high-rise building, was a symbol of Jonathan's success and his penchant for opulence. The initial reports from the police suggested that Jonathan had died due to a sudden accident. However, as investigators examined the scene, it quickly became apparent that this was no ordinary mishap. Jonathan was discovered sprawled on the floor of his living room, surrounded by shattered glass and signs of a violent struggle. The forensic team noted multiple bruises and contusions on his body, alongside a deep gash on his forehead that indicated a blunt force trauma. The apartment security system had been disabled, and there were no signs of forced entry, which suggested that Jonathan might have known his attacker. The news of Jonathan's death was plastered across every major news outlet. Headlines screamed about the tragedy of the wealthy tech mogul, and social media buzzed with speculation and theories. The authorities quickly ruled out natural causes, as Jonathan had no known health issues, and his toxicology report showed no signs of poisoning or drugs in his system. The Los Angeles Police Department launched a thorough investigation into Jonathan's death, with Detective Sarah Mitchell taking the lead. Detective Mitchell, a seasoned investigator with over 15 years of experience, was known for her sharp instincts and relentless pursuit of justice. Her previous cases included high-profile murders and complex fraud schemes, making her well-equipped to handle the intricate details of the Blake case. The initial focus of the investigation centered on Jonathan's immediate circle. Vanessa Blake was a natural point of interest. Her contentious relationship with Jonathan and her financial motivations made her a prime suspect. The media had already cast her in a negative light, portraying her as a gold digger who was desperate to claim her share of the fortune. Vanessa's public outbursts and statements about Jonathan's behavior only added fuel to the fire, making it seem as though she had something to hide. In addition to Vanessa, the police scrutinized Jonathan's business partners and employees, as well as anyone who might have had a motive to harm him. Among those interviewed were Lucas Grayson, Jonathan's business partner and longtime friend. Lucas, a 47-year-old executive with a background in finance, had been with Jonathan since the early days of Tech Vanguard. Known for his sharp business acumen and somewhat enigmatic personality, Lucas was seen by many as a stabilizing force in Jonathan's life. However, his close relationship with Vanessa and his presence during critical moments of their divorce proceedings raised questions. As the investigation progressed, Detective Mitchell and her team delved into Jonathan's personal and professional life, seeking to uncover any potential leads or motives. They examined Jonathan's financial records, phone calls, and communications, looking for anything that might provide insight into his murder. The apartment's security footage, which had been tampered with, was a critical piece of evidence that the detectives hoped would reveal more about the night of the murder. In the weeks following Jonathan's death, the case took on a life of its own in the media, with speculative reports and sensational headlines dominating the news. Public opinion was divided, with some viewing Vanessa as a grieving widow caught in a tragic situation and others as a cunning femme fatale who had orchestrated the crime. The media frenzy only heightened the pressure on law enforcement to solve the case quickly and accurately. Despite the intense scrutiny and public interest, Detective Mitchell remained focused on the task at hand. She knew that finding the truth behind Jonathan Blake's murder would require sifting through layers of deception and uncovering hidden motives. With each passing day, the case grew more complex, as new revelations emerged and the investigation took unexpected turns. As the chapter of Jonathan Blake's death began to unfold, the once glamorous world of Los Angeles was thrust into a grim reality of crime and betrayal. The shocking crime that had shaken the city was only the beginning of a deeper and more sinister story that would reveal the dark underbelly of wealth, power, and deceit. As the investigation into Jonathan Blake's murder continued, Detective Sarah Mitchell turned her attention to the complex relationships and hidden motives surrounding the case. With the media and public speculation mounting, the need to uncover the truth became increasingly urgent. The initial focus on Vanessa Blake quickly proved to be more than just superficial. The deeper Detective Mitchell dug, the more intricate and troubling the situation became. Vanessa Blake, the primary suspect, had been a constant fixture in the media since Jonathan's death. The public's image of her as a scheming socialite who had a motive to kill Jonathan was exacerbated by her emotional outburst and contentious divorce proceedings. Vanessa, a former model known for her striking looks and high-profile lifestyle, had been at the center of a very public battle for Jonathan's fortune. Her claim for a significant portion of Jonathan's assets was well known, and her demands had been a point of contention throughout their divorce. Vanessa had hired a high-powered attorney, Matthew Reynolds, who was known for his aggressive tactics and ability to navigate complex legal battles. Reynolds had been vocal in the media about Vanessa's intentions, portraying her as a wronged woman who was merely seeking her rightful share of the marital assets. However, as the investigation unfolded, it became clear that Vanessa's relationship with Reynolds went beyond legal representation. They had a personal and, at times, contentious dynamic that would later become crucial in understanding the full extent of the conspiracy. Detective Mitchell conducted a thorough review of Vanessa's communications, including text messages, emails, and phone records. What emerged was a pattern of increasingly hostile exchanges between Vanessa and Jonathan. These messages revealed that their relationship had deteriorated to the point of open threats and accusations. Vanessa had expressed frustration over Jonathan's unwillingness to meet her demands and had made several comments that hinted at her dissatisfaction with the divorce proceedings. In addition to examining Vanessa's communications, Detective Mitchell and her team scrutinized the financial documents related to Jonathan's estate. Vanessa had been demanding a substantial settlement, which included not only a significant sum of money but also various assets such as properties and investments. The financial pressure on Jonathan to settle quickly was substantial, and Vanessa's insistence on a large payout added to the tension. Lucas Grayson, Jonathan's business partner and a key figure in the investigation, was another focal point. Lucas, a 47-year-old finance expert, had been closely involved with Jonathan both professionally and personally. His role at Tech Vanguard was critical. He was responsible for managing the company's financial strategies and investments. Lucas and Jonathan had known each other for over 15 years, and their relationship had been marked by both camaraderie and occasional conflicts. Lucas' involvement in the case came under scrutiny not only because of his business ties to Jonathan, but also due to his relationship with Vanessa. It was revealed that Lucas and Vanessa had been seeing each other secretly. This revelation added a new dimension to the investigation. Their affair provided a motive for both parties to be involved in Jonathan's death. Vanessa could have sought to expedite the divorce proceedings, while Lucas might have wanted to ensure a favorable outcome in the business and personal realms. Detective Mitchell's team delved into Lucas' background and financial records. They discovered that Lucas had been experiencing significant financial difficulties despite his high-profile position. His personal finances were strained, with several loans and debts that seemed incongruent with his wealthy public image. This financial strain made him a suspect who could have been motivated by both financial desperation and a desire to secure a more comfortable future with Vanessa. The investigation revealed that Lucas and Vanessa had been discussing their plans for the future, which included a potential partnership and financial arrangements that would benefit both of them significantly. The detective uncovered emails and phone records that indicated discussions about the logistics of dividing Jonathan's assets and plans to ensure that Vanessa would be well positioned to receive a substantial portion of the settlement. These communications were particularly damning, as they suggested a premeditated effort to influence the outcome of the divorce and eliminate any obstacles that stood in their way. The analysis of Jonathan's apartment security system added another layer of complexity to the case. The system had been tampered with, and key footage from the night of the murder was missing. The tampering suggested that the perpetrator had inside knowledge of the apartment security setup. Vanessa's and Lucas' access to the apartment, either directly or through hired individuals, was a significant lead. The detectives interviewed maintenance personnel and security staff, trying to uncover any potential involvement or observations that could provide additional insights. Detective Mitchell's investigation also revealed that Vanessa had been receiving anonymous threats prior to Jonathan's death. The nature of these threats suggested a personal vendetta and heightened the urgency to uncover the source. Vanessa's claim that these threats were related to her ongoing divorce dispute was taken seriously, and the detectives pursued leads that might link the threats to her personal life and legal battles. As the investigation progressed, Vanessa and Lucas' behavior became increasingly suspicious. Vanessa's public appearances, characterized by dramatic emotional pleas and displays of grief, seemed calculated rather than genuine. Her interactions with Lucas also raised eyebrows, particularly after it was discovered that they had been in contact frequently in the days leading up to Jonathan's death. Their communication, once private and ostensibly affectionate, was now scrutinized for any signs of collusion. The investigation team faced a formidable challenge in piecing together the full extent of the conspiracy. The complexity of the relationships and the high stakes involved made it difficult to determine the exact role each suspect played in Jonathan's murder. The detectives continued to gather evidence, interview witnesses, and analyze financial records in their quest to uncover the truth. As Detective Mitchell and her team worked tirelessly to unravel the web of deceit surrounding Jonathan Blake's murder, the case grew more intricate. The combination of financial motives, personal betrayals, and hidden relationships painted a grim picture of a planned and premeditated crime. With each new revelation, the case took on a new dimension, bringing the detectives closer to understanding the full scope of the conspiracy and the individuals involved in the tragic death of Jonathan Blake. The hidden motives and elaborate schemes uncovered during this phase of the investigation set the stage for a dramatic and revealing conclusion. The intertwining of personal vendettas, financial desperation, and clandestine relationships created a complex narrative that would ultimately lead to a deeper understanding of the murder and the true nature of those involved. As Detective Sarah Mitchell delved deeper into the investigation of Jonathan Blake's murder, the complexities of the case began to crystallize into a clear, if shocking, narrative. The web of deceit involving Vanessa Blake and Lucas Grayson had slowly unraveled, revealing a chilling conspiracy that extended beyond mere financial gain. The final chapter of the investigation brought to light the full extent of the betrayal and manipulation that led to Jonathan's untimely death. The breakthrough in the case came when the forensic team managed to recover and analyze some of the missing security footage from Jonathan's apartment. Despite the tampering, they were able to retrieve partial video recordings from the days leading up to the murder. This footage, while fragmented, provided crucial evidence of suspicious activity around Jonathan's apartment. In particular, the footage showed several unexplained entries and exits that were inconsistent with Jonathan's known schedule and routine. One key piece of evidence was a video clip from the evening before Jonathan's death, which captured a figure entering the apartment building late at night. This figure was seen briefly disabling the apartment's security system before disappearing into the building. The image was grainy, but it was clear enough to suggest that the person was someone familiar with the apartment's layout and security features. The detectives compared this footage with known associates of Jonathan, and it became evident that the person in question was Lucas Grayson. The revelation of Lucas' involvement was a critical turning point in the investigation. Lucas had initially presented himself as a concerned business partner and friend, but the evidence pointed to a more sinister role. Interviews with Lucas' acquaintances and a deep dive into his financial records revealed that he had been struggling with substantial debts and financial pressures, which made him susceptible to extreme measures. The detectives also uncovered a series of emails between Lucas and Vanessa that detailed their plans to secure their financial future. These communications included specific discussions about how to handle Jonathan's resistance and plans to make his death appear accidental. The emails suggested that Vanessa and Lucas had been working together to orchestrate Jonathan's murder in a way that would allow Vanessa to receive the largest possible settlement and Lucas to benefit from the continued operation of Tech Vanguard without Jonathan's oversight. As the investigation progressed, Vanessa's role in the conspiracy became increasingly apparent. Detective Mitchell and her team discovered that Vanessa had been actively involved in the scheme to eliminate Jonathan. Her attempts to appear as a grieving widow were exposed as a facade designed to divert suspicion. The evidence showed that Vanessa had been in constant contact with Lucas, coordinating their efforts and discussing their strategies to avoid detection. The final piece of the puzzle came from a series of recorded phone calls between Vanessa and Lucas. These calls, obtained through a court order, captured explicit conversations about their plan to frame Jonathan's death as an accident. The recordings revealed their calculated approach to the crime, including the use of Lucas' knowledge of the apartment security system to disable it and their plans to manipulate the scene to make it appear as though Jonathan had fallen victim to a tragic mishap. With the culmination of the evidence, Detective Mitchell prepared for the final stage of the investigation, confronting Vanessa and Lucas with the full extent of their actions. The detectives arranged a meeting with both suspects, presenting them with the incriminating evidence they had gathered. The confrontation was intense, with Vanessa and Lucas initially maintaining their innocence despite the overwhelming proof against them. As the evidence mounted, Vanessa's resolve began to crumble. Faced with the undeniable proof of her involvement and the potential for a lengthy prison sentence, she broke down and confessed to her role in the conspiracy. Her confession detailed her motivations, including her desire to secure a large portion of Jonathan's fortune and her manipulation of Lucas to achieve her goals. Vanessa admitted that she had been deeply dissatisfied with Jonathan's refusal to settle the divorce on her terms and had seen his death as the only way to ensure a favorable outcome. Lucas, initially defiant, eventually conceded his involvement after realizing that the evidence against him was irrefutable. His confession revealed the depth of his financial desperation and his willingness to betray his longtime friend and business partner for personal gain. Lucas' admission included details about how he had planned the murder, including disabling the security system and staging the scene to make it look like an accident. The confessions of Vanessa and Lucas led to their arrest and subsequent trial. The courtroom was filled with media coverage and public interest, as the details of the case were laid bare for all to see. Vanessa and Lucas faced charges of conspiracy to commit murder, first-degree murder, and a range of related offenses. The trial was marked by emotional testimonies and graphic evidence, painting a vivid picture of the premeditated nature of the crime. In the end, both Vanessa and Lucas were found guilty of all charges. The court's verdict was a significant moment of closure for Jonathan Blake's family and the public. Vanessa was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, while Lucas received a similar sentence, with additional time added for his role in the conspiracy and the financial crimes uncovered during the investigation. The case of Jonathan Blake's murder highlighted the dark side of wealth and power, exposing the lengths to which individuals would go to achieve their desires. The investigation revealed a complex web of deceit, betrayal, and greed, demonstrating the chilling consequences of manipulation and premeditated murder. Jonathan's death, once a tragic and mysterious event, was ultimately resolved through the diligent work of Detective Sarah Mitchell and her team, who brought justice to a case that had captured the city's attention. As Los Angeles returned to its glittering facade, the shadows of Jonathan Blake's murder remained a stark reminder of the dangers lurking beneath the surface of wealth and influence. The story of Vanessa and Lucas, and their ultimate downfall, served as a sobering reflection on the cost of ambition and the lengths to which people would go to secure their futures, no matter the moral or legal price.